Rusame reader, Crow Song, and today I will be reading to you from Take Two by Miriorite. Now, before we get into this chapter, this has a trigger warning for mentions of blackmail, assault, and sexual assault. Now, on to chapter 22. One Lie. America rushed over to the location his friend sent him through text. He walked around for a while before spotting her sitting outside a small cafe, with her phone open and a gentle smile. America waved at her. She noticed him and waved back. The American sat across from her. In front of him there was already a drink, which she ordered for him before he arrived. He smiled at this and proceeded to drink it. It tasted sweet, his favorite. She tucked in a loose strand of hair and stared at the American as he looked vulnerable, enjoying his drink. Whenever someone experiences happiness, they tend to let their guard down. Don't you think the drinks they make here are amazing? There isn't a single person around either. Her green eyes stared at her own drink, but she didn't pick it up. She continued, deepening her smile. This would be the perfect spot for a date, if you think about it. America's thoughts trailed off to a certain person, then he replied. Yeah, it would. America started happily chatting away, talking about the beautiful scenery and the amazing food and drinks in this area. She listened carefully and attentively. Her lips twitched, but she ignored it and asked, Are you interested in anyone currently? America rested his chin on his palm. Well, I'm not sure. I think so. But then again, I've never experienced it, so I wouldn't know. He traced the rim of his cup with his finger. Well, I like you. Would you like to go out? She mixed her drink with her straw over and over again until some of it spilled over the edges. America chuckled. Very funny. I get confessions all the time. It's not even funny anymore to me. A for effort, though, the young man said sarcastically. Her lips pursed into a thin line, and her eyes narrowed as well. I'm serious. Besides, wouldn't a relationship between the first and second stars shock the world? So you want to do this for clout? That is not what I was referring to. The clout is a bonus, but I genuinely like you. She slammed her hand on the table, causing the tableware to rattle. America's eyes glazed over her. His identical bright blue eyes landed on her expression. It seemed to be genuine, to say the least. America got confessions all the time, ever since he was a kid as well. But he never actually felt genuine feelings for anyone, at least until now. Besides, most of the time, people who confess to him are usually just using him. They probably don't know much about him at all, and he never took the initiative to show them either. Most of them don't even know his actual eye color. The only ones who do know are his family and one other person. The green-eyed lady in front of him was the same to him. She didn't know much about himself either. America felt that she did know more about him personally than others. For example, that he liked sweet things and such. But that was only the surface. After all, a person is more complicated than you may realize. What exactly do you see in me, anyway? America crossed his arms. The atmosphere felt like an interrogation rather than a heartfelt confession. She sighed. What is there not to like you about you? You have an exceedingly good-looking face, ideal body, good personality, that's outgoing and kind, a stable career, and so much more. The shorter lady added, You are practically the epitome of the ideal boyfriend. America only scoffed. Whether he was mocking her or himself, even he didn't know. That's what everyone thinks of him. He knows he is far from perfect. Only people who don't actually truly know him would think he was, including her. Her green eyes pierced him like blades. She already got the message from a while ago that she was not the person America was interested in. What do they have that I don't? I am the second best star, only behind you. I'm sure my looks wouldn't lose to yours either. So why? She started to raise her voice. Throughout this entire conversation, both parties did not raise their voice and remained calm and composed until now. It seems her emotions were turbulent and she was getting impatient and worried. America lifted his eyelashes to stare back at her. Don't take it to heart. You are a wonderful lady. You're just not my type, he said after a small pause in the middle. She slammed the table and got up. America also got up, a little alarmed. She grabbed his collar and pulled his face closer to her. The lady stared him dead in the eyes. Her eyes were anxious and a little saddened. Very well, I'll see you at the studio tomorrow for work, she said emotionlessly and walked away. America stared at her as she left. Then she turned a corner and disappeared from his sight. At least she still remembered having the movie shooting together tomorrow. America glanced at the table. They made a mess while arguing, as there were remnants of spilt drink and scattered tableware. The male cleaned up the table and fixed the tableware. He glanced at the already paid bill. I should pay her back next time I see her. The scenery was nice. It was almost insulting. He felt quite depressed about losing a friend today and hoped they could make up one day. He silently hoped that day would come soon. He walked back home and wanted to text Russia immediately about what happened, but he felt that maybe she wouldn't want America telling everyone about what happened. After all, it could be embarrassing or hurtful for her to remember, so America decided not to say anything. He was mentally exhausted from today. America was always like this after arguments, which is why he really despises it. He dozed off without realizing it. In the morning, the sun blinded his vision as he slowly got up. He checked his phone and found hundreds upon hundreds of missed calls from his manager, Russia, and his other acting colleagues, along with thousands and maybe millions of notifications. But as an actor, that wasn't all surprising. Besides, America wasn't quite focused since he just woke up. When he checked the time, he realized he was going to be late for the shooting today and rushed there as fast as he could. The American didn't even have the chance to change his clothes. When he reached there, oddly, there was no one around the studio. Was America too late? There was no way. He had only been 30 minutes late. Even if he was, they would at least have one staff member doing overtime. Then America made his way around backstage, where there was a giant crowd of people surrounding something. Suddenly, another actor from the shooting noticed him and immediately shouted at him, "You dare have the face to come back!" America was beyond confused. Well, Sorry, I didn't mean to be late. No need to yell. My whole body is sore right now. Jeez. Indeed, he fell asleep on his couch, so he didn't quite sleep in the correct position. Now his whole body ached. The actor's face was red with fury. Shameless! What did you do yesterday night? The entire crowd turned towards America. Their gazes made him feel a chill run down his spine. Something wasn't right. Their eyes held disgust, contempt, fury, and many more negative emotions. Not a single one was positive. I went home from the cafe and fell asleep because I was tired. The American was still beyond confused. He didn't have a single idea on why everyone had been acting so weirdly towards him. Everyone started to whisper amongst themselves. Why do you act innocent when we know what you've done? You threatened to blackmail someone and assaulted someone in both ways. This came as a shock to America. He was completely dumbfounded. Then, in the corner of his eyes, he saw the lady from last night hiding in the crowd. She acted like she was absolutely horrified at his presence, while the others around her comforted her while glaring at him. She was also covered in bruises, cuts, and much more. America wasn't dumb. He put two and two together. I didn't do it. I swear. He was starting to get anxious under the heated gazes of everyone. No one believed him. The actor scoffed. Don't lie anymore, just admit it. She already testified to what you did to her last night. Or would you like me to say, as she described it, word by word? America couldn't mutter out a single word, but he already started explaining to the American what happened yesterday, according to the green-eyed lady. The actors started with them meeting at the cafe. One thing led to another, then what he described what America did to her yesterday in full detail. America didn't want to listen, but he couldn't block his ears. The American gradually felt more and more nauseous as the actor continued to explain. Seems like you didn't even change your clothes from yesterday since you were in a hurry to see how messy your clothes are and how exhausted you look. Isn't that proof already? When he said in a hurry, he used his hands to do the quote-unquote hand gesture. Then the actor pointed at America's collar. His eyes widened. This was when she pulled his collar yesterday. Everyone in the crowd continued to nitpick every single detail about him that could prove he was guilty. They threw insult after insult at him as America stood there and took it all. He didn't have evidence to prove his innocence. He didn't interact with anyone or go anywhere after what happened. So, at the cafe, there was no footage nor statement he could use. The area was deserted, so no one could have seen them. So, what do you have to say for yourself? America felt the tears threatening to spill right out then and there, due to the peer pressure everyone gave him, the insulting words people said. And there was also the hopelessness that felt like a spacious, deep pit. I really didn't do it, the American then said with a slightly shaky voice. He couldn't really take it anymore and stormed out of there. The crowd continued to say things even as he left. Outside, the sky was dark because of the heavy clouds, and it started to rain a little. Only now did America realize his phone had millions of notifications. A lot of them featured the accusations being thrown at him. Articles have already been made. People have been bombarding his social medias everywhere. The young man clutched his phone tighter, and the sounds of notifications didn't stop, and he began to feel dizzy. "America," someone said, and ran over to him. America could hear the footsteps splashing on the puddles towards him. It was Russia. America felt a sense of warmth in his heart when he saw the Russian. He couldn't believe in such a horrible situation like this that the taller male would still show up to cheer him up a little. "Did you actually do it?" The Russian grabbed his shoulders and stared into America's eyes. His eyes were turbulent. America's eyes and expression turned dark. "Does he not believe me either? Why would he ask me if he did believe me?" America felt this hurt even more than all the other words everyone threw at him. He ignored the aching in his heart and pushed the Russian away. The pain was unbearable. "I'll see you at work tomorrow," the American said with great difficulty and walked past Russia. The Russian wanted to chase after him, but he was too rooted to the spot, too nervous, and too frightened to move. As America walked away, tears spilled out of his eyes. He didn't sob, he just cried silently as he walked, to the point where Russia couldn't even tell he was crying. The rain masked his tears as well. "Maybe if I never met you, it wouldn't hurt this much," America thought. He watched the American's back disappear amidst the rain that was growing heavier by the second. America never came to work the next day. And that's the end of this chapter. That was painful. As someone who experienced something that is one of the accusations in this chapter, I did not have fun. I'm going to try and record later so that maybe I can make myself feel better. I probably won't post again tomorrow, or I will. Or if I post tomorrow, I won't be, I don't know. I will post tomorrow. I probably won't do a double upload because this chapter was a little too close to home. That being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. Just enjoy your time. And I will see you tomorrow.